My name's Lacey Brutschy, and I'm one of the top selling real estate agents in all of Dallas-Fort Worth and their surrounding suburbs. But before I was that, I was a student at SMU. I went there in 2005, and I graduated with a degree in 2009. By the time 2010 hit, I had decided that I wanted to go into real estate. And the reason's pretty simple. In 2009, I watched a lot of my friends and my friends' families and my family fall into a lot of hard times. That included housing. I watched people lose the most valuable commodity that they owned, and I decided that I was going to take it upon myself to help these people because maybe if they had an ethical real estate agent that they could trust, that they liked, that took their fiduciary responsibility super seriously, maybe they wouldn't be in that position. So I introduced myself not as someone who's been on the Wall Street Journal's top 1% list of national real estate agents. I introduced myself not as someone who's won the D Magazine Award for top real estate producer 6 years in a row. I'm also not here because I've won the Real Producers Award for the last 5 or 6 years in a row. And that takes into account the top 250 agents across your specific area. And you don't just become that through your sphere of influence. You don't just become that because you're worried about a deal. You actually become that because you care. Take this job extremely seriously. This isn't something that I do on the weekends for fun. This is something that I do from about 7 o'clock in the morning to about 8 o'clock at night. I genuinely care about making sure that sellers are the best represented that they possibly can be. It's very important that a seller's agent understands the needs of the buyer as well. For example, whenever I'm listing a house for sale, I don't just keep the seller's disclosure and the flyer that makes your house pretty right on the table. No, it's very different. We actually look at it from a buyer's perspective too. So right now the rates are like at 7.5. They're very different than when from a lot of people purchase their homes in the 3s and 4s, making them more affordable, but also making the price points dramatically increase. That's why I make sure that I partner with different real estate mortgage professionals who provide different services. I have one right now who will do a 1-0 buy down, which means that if the rate is at 6% today, he will buy your rate down to 5%. That means that we're probably going to make about 1% more on the sale of your home. That's a lot of money that goes right to your pocket that if you worked with another real estate agent, they might not know. Something else that you might not consider is, does a real estate agent know how to tell the story of my house? Is my house being looked at clearly through the lens of that real estate agent so that way they can properly pitch it to buyers who, again, will match the criteria that we're looking for. We're just trying to sell it for top dollar in the fastest way possible. And we do that by listening to our clients. Before we have an actual consultation, I'll sit down and ask, what are the features of your home that you love the most? Why did you buy this house? That way I know what you love about it so much. Market what you love. We market what you love and we tell that story. And again, it can be through staging. We have the stagers. Don't worry, you don't need to find them. I have the lighting. You don't need to find that either. We can get it off of almost anywhere in Dallas. Because when you're working with me, you're working with a realtor who's going to micromanage this entire transaction and take care of a lot of things they're going to pile up on your plate. And this is from pre-listing to the day of closing, the day you give away your keys. Storytelling is incredibly important. And so it's important not to show just the whole home in either photos or videos. It's really important to make sure that you're capturing these little pieces of each of the house that are so important whenever it comes to selling. We're not going to just give you the best stagers. We're not going to just figure out the best price. We're not just going to figure out an entire marketing strategy based off of sphere of influence and connections. No, it gets a little bit deeper than that even. That we list has a single property website. So that way we use SEO, terms that work, terms that have been tried, tested, and true on Google that will actually deliver us results for people looking for homes that are exactly like the one that you have. You won't need to pay a dime. I pay for all of it. Again, I'm micromanaging this entire transaction, just taking things off your plate so that way it's a little easier for you. Now we have the photos, we have the videos, but we also need something to show me the floor plan. I want a 2D floor plan because those are easy to see, but I want something a little different too. I want a Matterport. So if you've seen that before, it looks exactly like a dollhouse. So we would walk into this dollhouse, drop ourselves in, kind of like you're on Google Street View, and start walking around the home and seeing exactly what it looks like. Fort Worth and Tampa Bay, two of the largest relocation networks in America. So that means that we have people moving here constantly. A lot of people from Chicago and the surrounding suburbs. We also have a lot of people from New York and those surrounding suburbs. So we do something a little bit differently. I will take your house, put it on the single property website, take the video that goes with it, and start geotagging advertisements consistently. Spend quite a bit of money on that for our clients. We want them to be advertised appropriately, not just to agents here. I want them to be advertised to agents in markets that move here. So I'll do Austin, Houston, Tulsa, New Orleans, obviously Los Angeles. Then we'll have San Diego, New York, Chicago, and any other major HQ movement that's coming here, any new headquarters, we're going to start advertising to those people too. We're going to go take even more photos and videos so that way we can make sure that you're structuring your sale appropriately, because I need to make sure that this is being marketed well. Work with me. You're going to work with someone who is always looking at your house from the perspective of a buyer, so that way I can figure out things that might come up in inspection or something that a buyer would be concerned about and make sure we mitigate those things right off the bat. For example, a lot of buyers will be concerned about the age of the roof because the age of the roof is a direct correlation to the amount of money that they're going to be paying in insurance. Now, I have a lot of roofers who I like and trust over the last several years who I use that will make sure that they can make this adjustment very well for you. So if we have a roof that's over 10 years old and it has some hail damage, I will make sure that a roofer is with you, making sure that they talk to your insurance, making sure that we can figure out whether or not we can get you a new roof and then get a higher sales price for that property. Plus, we also typically worry about foundation. Foundation is a problem that will come up. If you feel like you have a foundation problem, that's okay. We're going to go out. We're going to have a foundation engineer inspect the property to make sure that there's nothing that the buyer needs to be aware of. Then we're going to show the buyer that report to prove to them that there's nothing to be worried about. But what about the other stuff? What about the other stuff? What about air conditioning units that come back as being 15 years old? Their life expectancy is really 10 to 12 years, so anything past that, we're kind of on borrowed time. Okay, I have several AC companies that I've been working with for over 7 years who I like and who I trust to get the job done. And again, that's why you're going to work with me, is so that way I can take these things off your plate. You just need to be able to prepare yourself for these problems. So this is what we start doing when we first start having our communication, right? This is when we first start having our talk of, hey, how old are these systems? Let's figure out a way around it. And I can't really tell you what it is because I don't want to give away all my secrets, but they have to do with having many subcontractors be able to go out, look at something for you, prepare it for sale. And it's just one of these things that we get to take off your plate completely. This isn't something that you have to worry about. The goal here is constantly to make it as easy as possible for you to sell your home. This is micromanaging a transaction at its finest. So here are our phases whenever we talk about marketing. What we're going to do is we're going to start with the discovery phase. We'll put you out on a private exclusive page that only allows certain real estate agents who are the top 20% of that area to gain access to your house. We're going to price test it. We will pitch it to all the realtors who've sold in that area in the last 2 years. I call the agents personally, I introduce myself, and I introduce your property. We do 2 open houses the first weekend to maximize traffic on your listing, and then we start video marketing. And that I'm going to go into more detail with whenever we're at our listing appointment. So we've finished figuring out how we're going to market your property, but once we go under contract, what are the steps there? Simple. In Texas, we have a option period, which is the same as a negotiation period. This is the same as an inspection period in most states. It allows the buyer to go out and get an inspection and ask for whatever their little heart desires. If they've decided that there is something wrong with your house, they will find it and they will ask for it to be repaired. This is, again, where it's very important to make sure that you have someone on your side protecting you from a deal. For example, if your roof is over 15 years old, you will more than likely have an uninsurable roof for a buyer. So it's very important to go have a roofer assess that roof, confirm that it looks good, confirm that there are no leaks allowed, and make sure that it has a clean bill of health that you can present to someone who's purchasing the home. Once we're out of the option period and our repair negotiations are complete, that's when the buyer will usually order the appraisal. I'm never concerned about appraisals because we've already listed your home at a fair market value. Once you pass the appraisal, that's the final hurdle. Now you're just heading towards the closing table, and as you make these steps, I'm next to you the whole time, letting you know what deadlines you have, reviewing what happened last week, and set an expectation of what will happen in the following week. With me, there's just a lot of communication. If you're looking for a hard worker, someone to market your property using data, analytics, and video, will take care of you from pre-listing your home to the day of closing, give me a call. My number is 214-642-2510, and I'd love the opportunity to help.